Welcome back, pimps. Now I was just playing my PS2 games, getting no views, enjoying myself, when I saw some hogwash flooding into my home feed about the hot new Star Wars game featuring that ginger fella. Now I knew Jedi Survivor was going to be a bad game because Jedi Fallen Order was a bad game. Fuck you. You know that cereal that vaguely resembles Lucky Charms, but it's not quite called Lucky Charms, it's called Marshmallow Mateys? Well, that shit is Jedi Fallen Order. But to my surprise, people were saying Jedi Survivor was a bad game because it plays about as smooth as gravel being fed into a paper shredder thanks to its implementation of Denuvo or some other backwoods Chinese knockoff EA found for free laying on the sidewalk. And this leads us to the topic that we're talking about today. Denuvo is a cancer, a rotting tumor, a blight upon the gaming industry that is contributing to the decline of AAA gaming by oftentimes single-handedly fucking up the performance of already mid games and devolving already trash games like Forspoken into a complete dumpster fire. But for the sake of the argument, let's say it's a mid-game. It still ruins that oh-so-important first impression, pissing off the buyer who then paints the Steam page with blood and usually completely ruins a person's view of a game over something that was easily avoidable. The short, fat lowdown of Denuvo, if you don't know, is that it is marketed as the ultimate anti-piracy software that could stop Noah from stealing animals and putting them on the Ark. It's the Muhammad Ali of knocking out pirates and protecting the destitute billion-dollar corporations. But in truth, it's more like the Berlin Wall separating paying customers from a working product, while the pirates who weren't gonna buy the game anyway are sentenced to an extra week of waiting for the game to get cracked. Because that's right, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, this shit doesn't work very well. You're one of those people that like proof? Yeah, okay, we got some of that. So Denuvo releases in September of 2014. Surely it'll take months, years even, for the evildoers to crack the new code. 3 games got cracked by December of that year, and Dragon Age Inquisition got cracked within just 2 weeks of its release. And by 2017, they had this shit down to a science. More recently, Hogwarts Legacy got cracked within 1 month, and you can ditto the same for the Resident Evil 4 remake. The only reason more games with Denuvo don't get cracked is because the gaming industry is so shitty right now that nothing is worth cracking for the pirate Chad lads. And I lead in with all that information to say, if you see someone claiming that this is a necessary evil to prevent game piracy, then you have the necessary option to slap them so hard a brain cell or two might just knock back into place so they can admit,
I'm kind of retarded.
But now, how does all this tie into the destruction of gaming, you may be asking? Great question, pimp. Now that you know that Denuvo doesn't do its job and you understand how pointless it is, we can talk about how it's murdering your frames. Most famously, and pretty recently, Resident Evil Village came out, got cracked very quickly, and Digital Foundry ran a test comparing 2 versions, one with Denuvo and one without. The survey showed the cracked game suffered way fewer frame drops and didn't feature a nasty little side effect like the Denuvo copy did, where every time you shot a gun, the frames fucking died. A mildly concerning issue for a first-person shooter. This shit has become a whole genre on YouTube because of how bad many Denuvo games run. Anywhere from the significantly longer frame times, which is basically how severe a stutter is in the measure of time, to the significantly longer loading times, to the massive FPS loss that many gamers drop $800 trying to fix thinking it's their hardware, when in reality, it's the money-grubbing whores in suits teaming up with the shoddy anti-piracy dicks to make a few pennies more. Now, to be completely fair, as Overlord Gaming has documented very well in the past, it does depend on the implementation, but at best, Denuvo is only a slightly worse experience. Meanwhile, at its worst, in many cases, including Jedi Survivor it seems, it's like digital AIDS for video game performance. Sometime back, even a developer on Tekken 7, when that was having performance issues on PC, just came out and said that it was being caused by the anti-tampering software Denuvo. Yet still, many people say that this is a conspiracy theory, like I'm talking about the second shooter on the grassy knoll. Motherfuckers, can you read? But that's just the performance. Let's not even talk about how this software is also a further means of controlling what you own, or at least what you think you own. Another limitation is how many computers you can actually put put the game on. Jedi Survivor has a 2-device limit, meaning if you try to put it on any more than 2 devices to get the most out of your $70 game, Uncle EA will bitch slap you with an error message. Oh right, then lock you out for 24 hours just to be safe. Additionally, and not to get all conspiracy theory on you here, but these big brother powers of determining if you can or cannot play also means that if they really wanted to, they could lock you out of playing your own game. Don't believe me? Well, some years back, Denuvo had an outage and players couldn't access several games that had this virus within it because these jackasses forgot to renew their domain name and the parasite couldn't call back home. Take that information as you will, pimp. Listen, the main point I'm trying to drill home here is that because of DRM and most notably Denuvo, PC ports are repeatedly being ruined on launch due to buyers downloading 150 gigabyte shit sandwiches that can't even run at 60 FPS on the lowest settings and the best systems, leaning many gamers to refund their shit sandwiches, and maybe if the taste ever leaves their mouths, they'll buy it back 2 years down the road when the mid-game hits the clearance rack for $10 and the company has maximized their sales at the cost of reputation. But for most people, it's fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, and I'm just gonna go throw my $60 at some big budget indie game and stop buying any of this trash on launch. At least Cyberpunk had the balls to be all naturally a horribly optimized game.